purpose does the gentlewoman from Colorado rise?
Madam Clerk, I rise to nominate Congressman Byron Donalds.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
I rise today to nominate Byron Donalds, my friend, an amazing man of Florida, an amazing leader, someone who almost even took leadership here in our Republican Party and came very close in doing so, and it was a very brave run. He's a man who understands what tough times look like and has come out of those tough times even stronger, more liberated, and as a leader. Now, we just heard from my respected colleague from Ohio, and he stated some amazing rules that we have been able to get an agreement on. I think we were threatened pretty heavily in conference, saying if we don't do as we ought, then some of those rules may just go away. But even naming the germaneness rule, which is really fantastic, after Morgan Griffith, well, that was our idea too. My question is, why didn't the supposed leader of the Republican Party present these rules? Why were we fought so hard on these rules? The barrier that still stands in the way of these rules is the structure that prevents us from rolling over. And as my friend from Chip Roy stated, we need the tools and the leadership to do our job correctly. And I believe that Byron Donalds is the man to lead us to that path of getting America on track and uniting the Republican Party. My colleagues and I have worked tirelessly for months to build consensus, to negotiate in good faith, to help unify our party on border security, energy security, debt reduction, term limits, earmarks, among other many common sense policies. But too often our efforts have fallen on deaf ears. Our border is wide open. Inflation is out of control. The Senate just passed $1.7 trillion without our input. So let me be clear. Our job is not to coronate the biggest fundraiser or rubber stamp the status quo or keep on going along to get along. It's to use our votes to elect a speaker who will enable us to get our country back on track. Getting the job done is what we were elected to do, and that starts with having a leader who supports Republican principles. So let's work together. Let's stop with the campaign smears and tactics to get people to turn against us, even having my favorite president call us and tell us we need to knock this off. I think it actually needs to be reversed. The president needs to tell Kevin McCarthy that, sir, you do not have the votes and it's time to withdraw.
What is going on out there, peeps? Man, I've been talking to a lot of Trump supporters, and they are really upset with a lot of things that he has said lately, a lot of his actions, a lot of the things that he is supporting. It seems to me that he has fallen more in line with the globalists than he is with this movement that he started. There are 20 Republicans within the House of Representatives that don't want McCarthy to be the speaker. And I don't blame them. I'll show you why here in just a moment. You see, Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy, they're globalist people. This is why they lined up so many times with the Democrats when it comes to major items like this spending bill. That pissed a lot of people off, and they were considered sellouts. Look, there's no doubt that people are waking up to Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy as being fake Republicans. They're more rhinos than anything else. And now people are just through with them. They're done. And that includes a new wave, crop of Republicans that are saying they have no intentions on voting for McCarthy to be speaker. And to be quite honest with you, I don't want that neither. But Trump has been making phone calls to these other 20 telling them to vote for McCarthy, which is disturbing because McCarthy is in lockstep with the Democrats as well as the World Economic Forum. Let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy Silver. Yes, it has changed. PIMPY-SILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos, because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. We are going to come back to this speech by Representative Laura Boltbart, all right? Because there's some things she's saying that really are being spoken about amongst the social media platforms that people should be paying attention to. But before we get into that, let me show you a huge reason why selecting Kevin McCarthy is a turnoff. R.C. Maxwell. Maxine Waters just told me to quit my bitching and support Kevin McCarthy or else. Really? When the Democrats are talking about voting for Kevin McCarthy to help push him forward, what does it tell you about who Kevin McCarthy really is? Think about that. Look at this. World Economic Forum, Majority Leader of the House Representative, Kevin McCarthy. This is who they are supporting to be Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. And the fact that Trump is pushing so hard to have Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker, I'm really starting to question Trump. I really am. You know, I really thought this guy was going to be able to make some huge changes, and he did as president. But all of a sudden, his attitude and his direction seem to be changing. And it could just be my imagination, but it certainly appears that way. But as I stated here, when you have both the Democrats and the World Economic Forum support Kevin McCarthy, what do you need to know? That he is not the right choice, period. So let's go over this one more time, because there are some things that she brought up that's really important. A couple of the things that were brought up into the attention is they want rule changes. They want the right to, at any time, if the speaker is not doing conservative things and is lining themselves up more with what the Democrats want, the Republicans want the right to remove their speaker and replace him with another one. And this batch of Republicans that they're calling rebels, I love how the media calls them rebels. These so-called rebels are wanting that to be a rule, that at any time they can replace the speaker. But let's get into this, what Laura said, because it's worth listening to again.
I rise today to nominate Byron Donalds, my friend.
Now, this would be interesting if he does win. I would love for him to win, by the way. That's a good representative to have there, speaker. Byron Donalds is a person who is definitely anti-left movement. He's against this council culture. He's against this culture war that we have going on, and he has spoken out about it several times. If Byron wins, I believe this will be the first time that you have a minority and majority in the House of Representatives, the leaders, both being black. It'd be interesting to see them both be the leaders of their respective parties, that's for sure.
An amazing man of Florida, an amazing leader, someone who almost even took leadership here in our Republican Party and came very close in doing so, and it was a very brave run. He's a man who understands what tough times look like and has come out of those tough times even stronger. Now, we just heard from my respected colleague from Ohio, and he stated some amazing rules that we have been able to get an agreement on, I think. We were threatened pretty heavily in conference, saying if we don't do as we ought, then some of those rules may just go away.
This is the issue that I have with our politicians. I know that when Nancy Pelosi was the leader of the Democrats, she threatened other Democrats if they didn't fall in lockstep with her. As a matter of fact, we had the squad trying to peel off and do their own thing, and they were getting carried away for a little while. But then there was a conference call that was made, and for whatever reason, they've been a little bit more silent on their attack against the Democratic leadership. That's because Nancy Pelosi is a very powerful woman, and I can only imagine what it is that she said. Yeah, that's not what you want. The whole purpose is to have debate, express yourself, and then vote your conscience.
My question is, why didn't the supposed leader of the Republican Party present these rules? Why were we fought so hard on these rules? The barrier that still stands in the way of these rules is the structure that prevents us from rolling over. And as my friend from Chip Roy stated, we need the tools and the leadership.
I love Chip. If you guys have not heard this guy give lectures, you know, he's been in front of the House of Representatives, pissed off, saying the fact that they have not been in the House to have a debate since the late 2016, that's ridiculous. These people are voting by proxy. In other words, it only takes the majority to get a lot of these bills across, so there's no debate there. Nobody there to fight for the interests of the American people. And that's a very dangerous situation.
I believe that Byron Donalds is the man to lead us to that path of getting America on track and uniting the Republican Party. My colleagues and I have worked tirelessly for months to build consensus, to negotiate in good faith, to help unify our party on border security, energy security, debt reduction, term limits, earmarks.
Term limits are where they're going to have a problem. A lot of these people have become very, very rich once they get into public office. Nancy Pelosi more than doubled her personal wealth. We see that people like Liz Cheney have all of a sudden become multimillionaires. Adam Kissinger, multimillionaires. How? With their salary only being about maybe 100-some thousand a year, and these guys come away millionaires? How is that possible? That's what should be investigated. So term limits I agree with, because it makes it really hard to corrupt a politician within a short period of time. And so term limits I'm a big supporter of.
But too often our efforts have fallen on deaf ears. Our border is wide open. Inflation is out of control. The Senate just passed $1.7 trillion without our input. So let me be clear. Our job is not to coronate the biggest fundraiser or rubber stamp the status quo.
When I worked with the Democrats, one thing I've learned, and this is no joke, 50% of the time, half the time, when the representatives are in Congress, they make it mandatory that they fundraise. Instead of working on issues for the American people, they have to fundraise. They're forced to fundraise. You can look that up. That's not even fake. Half the time they're in office, they're being forced to fundraise. That's not what I want my representatives doing, fundraising. I want them there to do what's right for the American people, to do the people's work. Not spend all day schmoozing with people, having drinks, and trying to get their checkbooks. I'm just not a fan of that.
Keep on going along to get along. It's to use our votes to elect a speaker who will enable us to get our country back on track. Getting the job done is what we were elected to do. Yes. And that starts with having a leader who supports Republican principles. Let's stop with the campaign smears and tactics to get people to turn against us. Even having my favorite president call us and tell us we need to knock this off. I think it actually needs to be reversed. The president needs to tell Kevin McCarthy that, sir, you do not have the votes and it's time to withdraw.
I have to be honest, I was really disappointed to hear this, that Trump was supporting Kevin McCarthy. Now, I was a fan of Kevin McCarthy when Trump was in office, but I really do think that he was behind a lot of sneaky things that weren't spoken about when it came to those who were betraying Trump. And the Democrats use McConnell and McCarthy just like puppets. Just like that ceremony when the families of the Capitol officers came to get awards and stuff, and they didn't shake the hands of McCarthy, nor did they shake the hands of McConnell. And you could just tell it was staged. It was a piss poor job, but it was staged. It was meant to make them look bad. And the fact that they actually went along with this just sickens me. Those aren't real leaders. It's time to end the term of leadership for both McConnell and McCarthy. I like the things that Donald stands for. He's a huge supporter of a lot of things that Trump first came out about. And like I said before, I don't know what the heck's going on with Trump, but it's becoming very disappointing with all his actions and all his words. He's letting a lot of people down, and that's not what we wanted. But as far as speaker is concerned, I don't want Kevin McCarthy to be there. I think he's a sellout, and I don't think he has the best interests of the American people. You guys let me know what you think down below. I look forward to your comments, and I'll get back at you later. I'm out.